What?
I was just thinking about how was it having Bryce on the show?
It was entertaining.
It was fun.
Yeah.
It was good
It was
catching
fun.
up with
It
him.
is.
Obviously,
It is.
It was the first time for me meeting him, so
It's a very fun personality to go into work
Oh, yeah.
with.
yeah, he's enthusiastic. He's he's got a lot of passion for what he's doing.
Yeah, we've been business partners since we were like maybe about 15, 16 years old.
I know y'all been yin and yang. You know what I'm saying?
We've been working hard. But needless to say, a lot of the stuff we have popping up, we got a lot of stuff in Miami, a lot of stuff in New York. We've been over to L.A., Atlanta, all the big cities. We've been to, YSL, their situation they got going on. I hope it gets better. We've been all over the place. I remember the first time Bryce went to Miami. He calls me. He's like, I made it into Meek Mill's birthday party. I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah, I saw that. I saw that.
Made
post.
it into Meek Mill's birthday party. Needless to say, he ran into DMX. Rest his soul. And he decided to say, he said, hey, can you go ahead and let's go and grab this shirt, trying to rap it, he said, what's a hoodie gang? Nah, man, I don't know who hoodie gang is. Nah, I don't rep the hoodie gang,
Look, he does some good impressions,
Yeah.
Jose. I told you.
DMX was going in on Bryce, so Bryce said, dang.
That's hilarious. Yeah, so we're gonna talk more about that a little later.
Awesome.
All right, guys, welcome to Daily Dose Podcast.
What up?
We got our boy Chris here today, and so the general topic of today is going to be about fitness and how that impacts your life as a whole. So if Chris, you introduce yourself a little bit about what you're doing, what you're invested in, your projects, whatever.
Alrighty, so if you guys want to know anything about me, I'm the vice president of Hoodie Gang. I'm also a bodybuilder. I'm a personal trainer as well, and I'm one of the top personal trainers if you actually really want to get in shape, and not just in shape, but look like a bodybuilder, look like something that you see in a magazine or a comic book. But for the most part, I'm just kind of trying to be an entrepreneur, and everything in life I try to go ahead and do. I try to go ahead and do kind of my own way. So it's kind of think it's not going to end just there. I think I'm going to be doing a lot more stuff pretty soon here. And we got the big movie stuff we're doing. We're going to go ahead and get in touch. We got the music biz we're all working with. So it's a big, fun industry, but you never know what's going to come. So you're always waiting for the next thing to happen.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Yeah, no, me and him go way back since high school, and I knew him before he was what he is now. You know what I'm saying? Back in the origin story. Speaking of origin story, what would you say as far as your childhood and how did you find bodybuilding? What got you into bodybuilding? Why? Wow. What is it about bodybuilding that keeps you in it?
I think you guys are going to enjoy this. So, when I first started bodybuilding, it started as we always see it like on YouTube or on Google. We go ahead and how to get a 6-pack abs. And you're like, what is a 6-pack abs?
The gurus and shit.
The gurus. I remember back in the day, we were watching the old YouTube channels like Hodge Twins, the Athlete X.
The 6-pack
Asian
guy.
Yeah. 6-pack shortcuts.
Chang,
I did that.
I watched so much of his videos.
Let me tell you one thing. It's all that kind of started the mindset of, okay, I need to be in shape. And then it started really kind of spiraling into when I went ahead and I went to a youth group event over in Georgia, I think. And when I went to the youth group event, we were at a camp, and I decided to kind of stray off from the camp for a minute. And the camp instructors were all from New Zealand. They're all from kind of little parts of the world that you wouldn't expect. And they're all just going ahead and trying to kind of find kind of American culture in these camps. So it's like, okay, there's obviously a big organization here, but I go off and I hear I'm like, okay, what the heck is that? So I'm going and I see like steam coming out of this like shed. So I walk in the shed and these guys are like, oh, crikey, hey, what you doing, bro? Hey, grab these weights. I'm start throwing around weights with them. They're showing me how to work out. They're like, hey, man, if we had you here for summer, you'd be big, mate. You'd be big, mate. Just talking about, like, freaking how big I would get. And I was like, wow. And they're like, hey.
Start gassing you up.
Exactly. They're like, get the Encyclopedia of Bodybuilding, and it'll be done from there. So I go back.
I love that impression of that accent.
Yeah,
love that.
So I go back to Pensacola, Florida. I go to Books A Million. I grab a book of Arnold Encyclopedia of Bodybuilding.
Wow.
And I start researching, looking at everything, all the anatomy charts. I go on YouTube, Instagram.
Yeah.
Every bit of thing I started associating myself with bodybuilding. And, ever since that moment, it started kind of building. when it reached its kind of bubbling point, I was in the swim team, and I noticed, all these guys are bigger than me. All these guys are bigger than me, height-wise,
they're tall.
muscle-wise. Yeah. These guys are jacked. So I'm like, what the heck? And it was not necessarily I wasn't, I didn't have my own physique, but it was not necessarily developed to the extent of where you would be as a supreme athletic, machine. So I was trying to
unit,
a unit, yeah. So needless to say, I try to find ways to progress myself, and then obviously we have Coach Bell. Coach Bell enters the amazing situation.
He's underrated man.
Yeah.
Shout out to him.
But Coach Bell, he went ahead and showed up one day for a swim practice, and he said, how much you weigh? I'm like, 108 pounds. He said, perfect.
They love that. They love that.
He took me into the weightlifting room, and he's explaining to me how it was going to help my swimming, and how it was going to go ahead and help me kind of transform. And I had already been, experimenting with bodybuilding, but it was nothing with heavy weight. You go to the gym, you're really not trying to go ahead and lift big things by yourself. So this is my first time I had a training partner. And then this is right when I watched Pumping Iron. We watched good old Pumping Iron, and, you see the mentality, and you see the exhaustion, the pain, but the exuberance, the vibrancy of everybody's energy in the gym. They wanted to work out. They wanted to be there, and they wanted that intensity. So what I really like to go ahead and do is I like to go to the gym with Coach Bell. Coach Bell was a big, intense guy, but luckily I'm a very intense personality. When I get onto something, if it's not intense enough, I lose interest. So I need to be in a highly, combative environment for me to be interested. I have to be challenged. If I'm not challenged, I feel a tendency to lose interest very fast. You call it ADHD, call it ADD, whatever you want. I just call it, I just lose interest in things I'm not interested in. And, but when these highly combative environments, kind of prove to me to, start adapting, I love it.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. Yeah, no, it's I resonate with that 100%. Yep. Yeah, Coach Bell, I love him. He was one of the few coaches I thought, a lot of people didn't understand his way of thinking. He didn't understand his way of hustling when it came to building your body. And obviously, I do believe in the beginning stages, he was crucial, at least whenever I was hustling when it came to bodybuilding at the time. He helped me get on that track, he had a lot of knowledge to share. So, man. So as far as that, who would you say is your biggest role model going into bodybuilding or life in general?
Okay, I'm going to go talk about my coach right now, Robbie Robinson. I train under the great Robbie Robinson, the Black Prince. If anybody knows him, he is an actual Mr. Olympia. He had been training partner to Arnold and many other greats, and he had competed actually way longer than Arnold. He competed all the way up in the 80s, 90s. And he was known for his amazing symmetry, amazing physique, and the ability to go ahead and bring it year after year after year and stay in shape. Luckily at 76, I believe, he's still pulling 500 pounds on deadlift. He is still exercising every day. He still goes ahead and he trains me every day. So he is, needless to say, a force to be reckoned with. But, I first saw him when I was in looking and pumping iron, and of course reading my book, the Arnold Encyclopedia, and I saw Arnold, not Arnold's, but I saw Robbie Robinson's physique, and I was like, oh wow, like you have biceps and the tricep sweep, and I couldn't resonate with Arnold because he was so tall. So I was like, as much as I love his physique, it'd be a stark difference from me at the stature of 5'8.5", 5'9". To be going ahead against the 6'2", 3", whatever it may be, stature of Arnold. So I couldn't really relate to that as a bodybuilder. And I think a lot of us as, quote unquote short kings, when we look at these greats, in the back of the day, we see a lot of the taller guys. But, if we kind of look at a little bit more into detail, you see people like Robbie Robinson, which is 5'8", 5'7", 5'8", and amazing physique to this day. Amazing.
Yeah, that's awesome. And going back to what you said, a lot of people like to compare themselves to other people instead of working on themselves and seeing where they're at and where they can go, because obviously some people's level of potential is higher than others. Say, if you're taller, you have more potential aesthetic wise, to be in the spotlight more than a shorter individual. I believe there was a bodybuilder that was basically Arnold's workout partner.
Yeah.
And he was short. And the only reason why he didn't, because they were basically the same, is just the height difference.